Hello, first off, I wanted to apologize for taking this on regular video. For some reason, YouTube wasn't allowing me. It's saying that it wasn't allowing me to unlist it, as well as UJ wasn't working as well. I can go and send proof. I took screenshots just in case, but I've been having those problems constantly with all those apps. So for the first one that I chose for is what is plagiarism and why it's unethical from a speaker's perspective, is because you're grabbing information from someone else's work and you're just using it. And it's different if you were quoting them and you were saying, hey, according to this and that. That makes the entire difference. That makes the difference between plagiarism and referencing. The way you can credit, I'll do number 6. The way you can credit sources within my speech is, again, you can either have it in a presentation that you have and marking, saying, or according to, or acknowledging and saying the names of the people where you gather the information from. And the function of the main points of a speech is so it has structure. The function is of the main points, it shows like everything that's important and what you're really going to talk about in the text, and that allows you to like somewhat gauge the audience and they kind of understand how or what you're going to be speaking about. Number 12, what is the difference between an informative speech and a persuasive speech? With an informative speech, you're telling people and you're trying to let them know about something that happened or will happen, and or something that is going on at that current amount of time. However, a persuasive speech is a speech used to try and convince people to either buy something, use something, or do something differently in their everyday lives, because you're trying to change and you're trying to convince them why a certain reason is better than the other and why you should do the way you do things. What demographics are important to keep in mind when analyzing a speaking audience? So, when you're thinking about your audience, it's extremely important because you need to realize how you need to speak and what kind of information you need to use without the text, especially your body language, the photos and everything, because that you need to understand and know who your audience is so you can gauge and truly reel in the audience. Number 24, the advantages of working and presenting in groups is that you're able to get more information and you're able to somewhat backpack off each other. If someone doesn't remember the information or doesn't or needs help, then one another can help each other. However, they can also be a downside of that because there's people that don't pick up their lack, they don't pick up their slack, and that ruins it for everyone else. What type of visual aids can have a greater impact when presenting? um PowerPoints are a absolute like game changer, especially because the way it's used or the way people have designed it. Because anyone, if you're sitting down and you're watching a presentation and you look at it and you see that it's cluttered and you can't really read it, all the words are small, it's really not going to hook you in. Especially, it needs to be appealing to the eye. However, if it's a bit more um simple, but it still has color and it's vibrant and it still kind of reels you in, you're more likely to get the audience to engage with you more. The general purpose of public speaking is to really connect with the audience and make it feel personal, because with a text or an article you can say your point and you can say how you feel about it, but it doesn't really you don't it doesn't have the same effect as if you were talking to an audience, trying to making them feel like they're a part of their conversation, making them feel comfortable, making them feel like they are important and that you are trying to talk to them and it's not just something that happened to be there and they stumbled on upon. Identify the best practices to incorporate visual aids into your presentation. The best visual aids are having clear, big words, possibly, making sure everything's not cluttered, making sure everything is nice and easy to the eye. Keep the audience hooked, yet don't do too much, but don't be too simple. What is your strategic plan to deal with your communication apprehension? My plan to deal with that is just by understanding what I'm talking about and understanding who I'm talking about and why the audience is there. What are examples of sexist language one should not use during a presentation? Um, a few examples of sexist language is possibly saying women, or you putting women or men in a certain category and using certain words that are like inappropriate or typical stereotypes that have been used all around. Why do people fear public speaking? I think many people fear public speaking because it's all in the now and you're talking to a bunch of different people, and that is completely different from being behind a screen or just typing, because you do have to connect with the audience. Thank you very much.